Time to get to what's trending here on CBS Sports HQ. I'm Haley Sutton. Monday morning, what a buzz it was. It included a coaching change in the NFL. Brian Daboll's 9 lives have officially run out after last night. Now the G-men are in search of a new head coach. The New York Giants officially firing Brian Daboll. That's according to our Jonathan Jones. The move comes just a day after the Giants lost a 10-point lead in the final 4 minutes in that game to the Bears. The Giants in the midst of a nightmare season, just 2-8 on the year, marked by an excruciating loss, major injuries to Malik Neighbor and Cam Skattebo. Daboll exits after nearly 4 full seasons with a 20-40-1 record. It's going to be Mike Kafka, the Giants offensive coordinator, taking over as the interim. You see the numbers on your screen there. Only the Titans have a worse record than the Giants over the past few seasons. Of course, this is their 3rd consecutive 2-8 start. And really the nail in the coffin has been those fourth quarter collapses. The Giants just 1-2 this season, went up by 10 points in the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. The rest of the NFL, 87-1. Certainly a lot of directions we can take this conversation, so let's do so with our NFL analyst Charles Davis and our NFL insider Jonathan Jones as we continue to follow this big news. JJ, I'll come to you first here. Any surprise to see this move happen today, another midseason firing in 2025?
Not after yesterday. Not after the way in which the New York Giants lost that game. Again, and Haley, you talked about it off the top, blowing a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter yet again. Right, 8 losses for this team. Always going to be tough sledding for this group, right? Probably not in the top half of the NFL in terms of talent. You got a rookie quarterback. You've tried to ease him in. But be competitive, right? Figure out ways to win games. But instead, the Giants figured out ways to lose games in innovative ways. In 4 of those games, half of their losses, of course, just giving the game away. And so that's going to hurt. What's also going to hurt is when you have 4th and goal from the 1 and you decide to kick, and not just kick, in a game that you really need to put away because of what could happen the following day, because of what has happened in 3 previous times you've had double-digit leads. But you get a penalty on the the field goal try, the 19-yard field goal attempt, and you still decide to keep the points, right? And it was a bad decision at the time. And I understand if they had Jackson Dart in the game, maybe they definitely go for it, but it was Russell Wilson. We're still talking about 3 feet. Really talking about 1.5 feet because you should have accepted the penalty and gone for it because you have nothing else to lose, right? This is what you have lost, your job. So it was a poor decision there. It was a poor decision to blow all of those leads. A poor decision to not protect Jackson Dart from himself. We all know the kind of player he is. It was very clear at the University of Mississippi. It has continued to be clear with the New York Giants in his professional football career, that he is going to put himself in harm's way. So try as best you can to protect him from himself. Instead, 4 times he's been evaluated for a concussion this season. Now he is in concussion protocol, and next week is in doubt for Jackson Dart.
Great points, all of them that you brought up. And I'll start with the Jackson Dart part because our crew had a game earlier this year in New Orleans. One of those games, Jonathan, that when you look back, you're thinking that's one the Giants had to win, should have won, didn't, against a struggling New Orleans team. I believe that was the Saints' first win of the season. And we talked to Jackson Dart about the running. You know, when you go, what are we doing here as a quarterback in the NFL? And, you know, he's a kid, right? So what did we get back from him? Well, you know, 1st and 2nd down, we're going to try and work on that and protect ourselves. But 3rd down, goal line situation, we're going for it. I'm not sure that he really truly adopted the 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down goal line distinction. And Brian Daboll, who was enamored with Jackson Dart, and understandably so, that was his guy coming out of college, trying to win games, trying to save a job. Maybe they got too loose on that part of it as well. But Jonathan, I want to go back to the beginning here. Brian Daboll's first season, when they went, 9-7-1 and only won 1 game in the division, somehow snuck into the playoffs, and then upset a 13-win Minnesota team on the road, and he was a toast of the town. You know who had a similar first year? Ben McAdoo. 11 wins. They go to Green Bay. Unfortunately, wasn't that the boat trip before the Green Bay game? They lose. He gets fired 12 games into the next year. We're seeing different things that come out of it. But I opine, Jonathan, and you can help me on this one. That first year, the worst thing Brian Daboll could have done was do what he did, which was somehow get that roster into the playoffs. They simply weren't good enough. And I don't know that they've gotten that much better over the past few years since Brian Daboll has been there, that this roster is the one that does it. But even with that roster, you spelled it out. All of those losses in the fourth quarter, less than 4 minutes to go, double-digit leads, double-digit losses on the road and consecutively is too much to overcome at this time. And I know Mr. Mara is ill, and we would send all the best to him. And I think he was trying not to do this, but this is where it starts. Mike Kafka be the interim. And then in the offseason, we might see if there's bigger moves that come with the Giants in terms of, do we hit the full reset button with the organization?
Mara has come out and said that the GM, Joe Schoen, is going to stay in that position. He's also going to help lead the search for a new head coach. Charles, when you think about what the Giants have already accomplished this year, I know the record doesn't say a lot about it, but they have their quarterback of the future, it seems, their running back, their wide receiver, barring those injuries. It feels like the pieces are in place. What kind of head coach do they need for the Giants with this core group that they're building?
Well, the interesting part, and Jonathan knows this, they had the head coach for Jackson Dart because it starts with your quarterback. And Brian Daboll, he's a quarterback coach. He's an offensive guy. His work with Josh Allen got him the Giants job. So you had that type of a coach, but what you're going to need, I think, beyond that is having that coach be central to that, but the rest of the ball club. How's the rest of the staff shaping up? How are things going on the defensive side of the ball where that coach is fully in connection with that? Because there's been a ton of staff turnover during that time. All right, during Brian Daboll's tenure. Coordinators, position coaches, all those things. You remember he and Wink Martindale, that was a terrible divorce, right? So all those things have to come together. The interesting part is you always think it's a great job with the Giants. You do have a quarterback in place, but will you align yourself? Because you just mentioned, Haley, they said Joe Schoen's going to stay, and that's great for Joe Schoen and for the management people. Will you be aligned together in what you're looking for and building this roster to protect Jackson Dart and a defense that has a lot of key pieces that's not playing up to their potential?
And that's the big question mark with this year in particular, is that everyone expected the Giants defense to be able to carry them to this point, but it's kind of been the reverse at this point. The offense has been a lot of fun. We saw some fun names up there as well, too. Jesse Binter, Cliff Kingsbury, Clint Kubiak, and Bill Belichick as potential replacements. Not sure about that last one. JJ, as we kind of push this story forward here, I mentioned it. This is the second firing that we've seen in the NFL this season. Of course, the Titans parted ways with their head coach, too. I'm sure there's going to be more conversation, more sample size to talk about as the season goes on. But right now, between the Titans and the Giants, which position is more desirable, all things considered?
Well, I mean, there's really no question the more desirable position is the New York Giants. You have the history of the Giants. You have ownership of the Giants, right? There hasn't been this snip-snap of firing people every other year. There's really just no doubt. They have both teams have quarterbacks, right? Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, but clearly the Giants, from the bones of the operation, it's not really all that close. As far as what could open, if something could open during the season, I think really you look at any team that past the midway point of the season only has 3 or fewer wins, did not participate in a conference championship game last year, and didn't just hire a new head coach 10 or so months ago, and just about anything should be on the table at that point, right? I mean, that's everyone in this league is going to be on notice. And, you mentioned something interesting, Haley, like John Mara said in a statement that the plan is to keep Joe Schoen through the year, the plan is to have him lead the head coaching search. I've heard a lot of plans before that ultimately don't come to fruition. I'm not saying change is going to take place, right? Not saying that at all, but I'm just saying the minds can be changed over 2 months, right? John Mara didn't plan to fire Brian Daboll until he blew 4 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. Then the plan changed. And so Stephen Ross in Miami with Mike McDaniel doesn't plan to fire him and things look good right now. So that's just the point that I want to make right there, is that the best laid plans sometimes don't often go awry, as they say.
Charles, if you had to choose between the Titans and the Giants, what team are you coaching?
Oh, the Giants for the reason Jonathan articulated. But one of the things to keep in mind is this is the 6th coach for the Giants now since 2016. Okay? I know people in Pittsburgh are screaming about Mike Tomlin and they're 5-4 and they should be. I get all of that. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have hired 3 Hall of Fame coaches in the last 50-plus years. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, all in succession. They've shown us how to get it done. Hard for the rest of the league to keep up. And the Giants, which is usually a model for things of this nature, this is going to be their 6th coach since 2016. This is not normal for the Giants, but they're still the New York Football Giants. That gives them a leg up in terms of interest, and they have a quarterback in place.
No shade to Nashville. Something about the Big Apple just calling to all of us. Guys, appreciate the time and your work this morning. I'm sure the news never slows down, but we know you guys have us covered when it comes to all of the new news rolling in on a Monday. You just heard Charles mention that stat, 6 different head coaches. Here's the Giants' past 5 head coaches. He mentioned Min McAdoo earlier, Joe Judge on that list as well. Brian Daboll becoming the latest Giants head coach to officially be fired.